So from today, we are going to start TestNG. So first of all, we'll see the introduction. What is TestNG and so what are the different features we have in TestNG and how we can use it in our automation. So we'll see that. And then we'll see configuration, how we can configure TestNG in our Eclipse. And then we will start writing test cases in TestNG. Okay. So first thing, what is TestNG? So TestNG is basically a unit testing tool. We can simply say unit testing a framework. So basically it is designed for unit testing and also it is designed using Java itself. So TestNG is always work with Java itself. It is not for any other tools. So TestNG is nothing but the test new generation and it is a Java based unit testing tool. It is a Java based unit testing tool. So what is unit testing means what? So normally the developers will create a code, right? So they develop the code and they develop the code in the form of different methods. And they want to test those methods. If they want to test those methods, they can create a unit test case. Means what? They will call those methods with the different parameters and the methods are properly returning the output or not. They will verify. So they will do testing in the code level. So for that they will write a unit test cases. So for that they'll use normally unit testing tools. We have a JUnit, we have a TestNG, or many more tools are in the market. But most popular is JUnit, and after that TestNG. So TestNG is basically unit testing tool which we can use it for writing the test cases, organizing the test cases, executing the test cases, generating the report, parallel testing. There are many more features are there. So because of that reason, we are also going to integrate TestNG into our Selenium automation. So we can incorporate those features in our automation. So far, we are just creating the code in Java style. So just like how we created a Java program. So similarly, we created a Java program and we have executed. Okay, but we are not writing we are not writing the code in the form of test case, right? So we have to create a test case and we have to manage it, and test suits we can create, and we can execute the test cases in the form of groups. Whichever group of tests we want to execute, we should able to execute, and we can generate the reports, parallel testing, parameterization, prioritization. There are many more things are there in our testing. But Selenium WebDriver is just support only web automation. Means what? We can just interact with the web elements and we can do certain validations on those web elements. That's the only scope of Selenium WebDriver. But beyond that, we have to do a lot of things in TestNG. Even not only if you're not only using TestNG, but still in our automation, we have to do a lot many things. Only interacting with the elements, adding verifications are not enough. That is not full-fledged automation. So we need to add some more features in automation. So for example, I have a 10 test cases and based on the priority, I want to execute. And what are the test cases I want to execute based upon the order I want to execute. And sometimes we will create a different groups of test cases. Like for example, sanity test cases, regression test cases, UI test cases, like that. So whichever group of tests I want to execute, I should be able to execute. That's called a grouping concept. And suppose I want to generate the reports. And suppose I want to execute test cases parallelly. Suppose I have a few test cases and I want to execute them parallelly. Instead of running one after another, I want to execute parallelly. And also at the same time, I want to execute them multiple browsers so that I can reduce a lot of time. Right? These are all possible only through TestNG, because only Selenium WebDriver, it will just automate the web application. But beyond that, it cannot do anything. We need to integrate some third-party tools. Like in the last class, Excel sheet is not supported in Selenium WebDriver. So what we have done, we have added external third-party library, Apache POI. Then we are able to overcome that challenge. Similarly, to achieve all other features in automation, we will integrate TestNG. So TestNG is a tool, a framework, a built-in framework, we can simply say. And if we integrate the TestNG in our automation, we can use many more features from TestNG. Okay. So what are the advantages? What are the benefits you will get when you install TestNG? So using TestNG, we can do a lot of things. Here I provided some of the advantages or some of the features, and which we are going to discuss in the multiple sections in the coming sessions. So first thing, we can manage test cases and test suites using TestNG, and we can achieve the grouping of test cases we can do. Like we can divide our test cases into multiple groups, and whichever group you want to execute or whenever you want, you can execute. We can prioritize the tests. Suppose I have a 10-20 tests, and what are the test cases I have to execute at the first, second level, third level, fourth level. Like this, we can prioritize. Parameterization is also possible. Suppose at the runtime, I want to pass parameters to the test case. For example, I created one test case. I want to execute in the Chrome browser, or I want to execute in the Edge browser. I want to execute in the Firefox browser. So the browser name I will pass at the runtime. Accordingly, my test case should execute on a particular browser. And we can also pass some test data also at the runtime. We can pass some test data also. That's called parameterization concept. And parallel testing. So we can run our test cases on multiple browsers parallelly. That is also possible. And report generation is the most important thing. So TestNG is provided their own reports, built-in reports, but they are not much attractive. So we will also create another type of reports called extend reports, which are very popular with Selenium automation. So we will also discuss those type of reports in the coming sessions. So these are the main features which we are getting from TestNG. So once you integrated TestNG with your automation, we can use all those features one by one. Okay. So from today, we're going to see one by one in the coming sessions. Fourth one is a parameterization. Parameterization is nothing but we can pass parameters to the test case at the runtime. Okay, so for example, I have created one test case, and on which browser you want to execute. Let's say I want to execute on Chrome browser. So that is a parameter I can pass in the runtime. Okay, and similarly, suppose I want to execute on particular application. I want to execute my test case on particular application. And that application related information we can pass at the runtime, like application URL, version number, browser. These are all things or environment details on which operating system we want to execute. So all these things we can pass through XML file. There is a parameter that's called parameterization concept. Okay, so we will discuss that in detail in the coming sessions. You will understand this. Fine. So these are the main topics which we are going to discuss in TestNG. In the next 5 to 6 sessions, we will spend good amount of time in the TestNG itself. And from now onwards, the way of writing the test cases are totally different. So far, how we have written the test cases, just we created one class and which contains a main method. And inside the main method, we put everything. And then we have run the test case in the Java as a Java application. Okay, actually, that is not the way to create and run the test case. And normally the developers they do like that. They will just implement the code or develop the code in the main method and then execute as a Java application. But from now onwards, the way of writing the test case, the style will be different. Okay, so we are going to write the test cases in TestNG style. Okay, and this is the approach we are going to follow even in the projects also. And so far, whatever we learn, that is just for learning purpose. Because as a beginner, we will start with the creating a Java class main method and create all the script in one shot and execute. But from now onwards, we are going to totally change the way of writing the test case, and we are going to follow TestNG style. It is very simple, very easy. I'll show you step by step. So before that, we will start installing the TestNG, how we can install TestNG on your Eclipse. This is the first thing, TestNG configuration. We don't need to install any third-party external jar file or anything. So we can easily install the TestNG within your Eclipse. I'll show you TestNG configuration. So we can do this in two different ways. TestNG configuration. We can install this TestNG through as a Eclipse plugin from the marketplace. Second option is we can directly add TestNG dependency in pom.xml. Either way we can do it. Either we can install TestNG as a plugin in our Eclipse from the marketplace. That is a very popular one. Second thing is we can add TestNG dependency in pom.xml. Okay, so better to have both, because sometimes when you run your test cases outside of the Eclipse, then you may face some errors. So better to add dependency also in form.xml. So I'll show you how we can do the TestNG configurations. Very simple installation. I'll go through step by step. So if you want, you guys can try now or later also you can do. I will provide a small documentation also. Just 4 to 5 screenshots are there. By seeing the screenshot, you can install it. So now let me show you how we can install. So currently this is the project which we created and all the test cases we have created like this. On top of this project, this is simple Maven project only, right? So on top of this, we are going to install TestNG. So how to install TestNG is very simple. Go to help menu and you can find Eclipse Marketplace. Okay, and before installing, you can cross check whether the TestNG is already installed or not. So how we can check it? Just go to Window and then Preferences. If you go to Window and Preferences, here in this particular list, you should able to see TestNG. If you already installed earlier, you can see TestNG option in this particular list. But here you could not see any TestNG, so I have not installed TestNG before in this Eclipse. So we need to go to Window Preferences. If you go to Window Preferences, here you don't see TestNG option. That means you have not installed TestNG so far. Now let me try to install it. To install TestNG, first of all, we need to go to Help menu. If you want to install any third-party extensions or plugins, anything we can do only through Eclipse Marketplace. So just go to Eclipse Marketplace. So what is this Eclipse Marketplace? Suppose, for example, on your mobile, if you want to install any app, from where you will download? Play Store, right? So what is a Play Store which contains different apps which are supported Android operating system, right? So similarly, if you have iOS or Apple, so you will download all the apps from the Apple Store. So similarly, Eclipse is also having their own Eclipse Marketplace. And if you want to add any external plugins or third-party plugins, we can install through Eclipse Marketplace. Now you can simply click on Eclipse Marketplace, and this will open a window like this. So once the window is open, we need to search for TestNG. So in the find box, you can find TestNG. You can simply type TestNG and click on Go button. So once you have done it, now you can see one small plugin, TestNG for Eclipse. Now this we have to install. So you can see one button called Install. Just click on Install. So once you click on Install, it is started installing the latest version. By default, it will take latest version. So it is installing latest version of TestNG. It will take few seconds. So let it complete the process. And if you want, you can try meanwhile on your system. Okay, now once you processed, it will show you few options here. So let it be selected both and click on confirm. So once you click on the confirm, so you will see a small kind of license agreement. And here you need to accept the terms and license agreement. The first radio button you can select and then click on finish. So once you click on finish, it will take a few seconds, few more seconds. And in the bottom right corner, you can see installing software 16%. So it should complete 100%. We need to wait till it completes 100%. It is trying to install TestNG on your Eclipse. It will again take a few seconds. So once it is installed, once it is done some process, in between it will show you one more window like this. So in this, we need to select all of them. So if you already install, you can continue with this. You don't need to install anything new. Okay, so now we got this window. So in this window, what you need to do is you need to select all the options. You can say select all. Click on select all button. It will select everything. Once you selected all, you don't need to select any checkboxes by default. You can simply click on one button called select all. So once you click on the select all, it is selected all TestNG related stuff, and simply click on trust selected. Trust selected. So once you click on, again, it will proceed installation. And one more time, it will show you another window. In this also, you need to select all the checkboxes like this individually, or else you can click on select all one more time. And select this checkbox also, always trust all the content, and it will show you small prompt. We can accept the risk. Yes, I accept the risk. So once it is done, click on trust selected. So you need to just follow the screens, okay? And once it is done, it is asking for restart Eclipse IDE to apply software update. So we need to restart your Eclipse just by clicking on restart button. That's it. So once you restart, it is restarted my Eclipse, and then TestNG will be ready. So it is starting my Eclipse. Yeah, now it is started, restarted my Eclipse. And this is my project, everything is there. So now let us check whether TestNG is successfully installed or not. So previously I have shown you one place, right? Go to Window, Preferences. And if you go to this location, now you can see in this list, you can find TestNG option somewhere. You can see this is my TestNG option. So previously it was not there, but once you have installed TestNG, you will able to see this TestNG plugin inside your Eclipse preferences. So this is a way we can install TestNG. Okay. So I will give you the clear document also. And if you forgot to do it, you can repeat this video, or else you can follow this document, TestNG installation on Eclipse. So you need to search for TestNG for Eclipse in the marketplace and just go to the screenshot. Just I have shown you, right? So same way you can go with this. That's it. You can see TestNG option in the preferences section. This is a small document I will share later. You can install if you are not. All right. So it is same process in the Mac also. In the Mac also, we have a marketplace, Eclipse marketplace. Go there, find out TestNG option, and proceed with the installation. Same process, no change at all. All right. Now we have successfully installed Eclipse TestNG plugin inside the Eclipse. Okay. But now what we need to do is whatever the TestNG library we have installed, that is still not configured with our current project. So we just installed TestNG on top of your Eclipse. But in Eclipse, there are many projects we can create, right? But currently, this is a project which is still not configured with the TestNG. TestNG, just we have installed it, but we need to add the TestNG library to the current project. So then only we can use all TestNG features. Okay. So in the Mac, I will show you later. If you could not find that option at the end of the session, let me know. I will show you that. Okay. All right. So this is the project, and we have installed TestNG option, but the TestNG is available in Eclipse, but still that is not configured with this current project. So now we need to add TestNG library to this project. So we just added TestNG library, which is already there in an Eclipse now. But this project is still not configured with the TestNG. So we need to add that library to this particular project. So how we can add? Currently, this project is configured with the Maven and along with the Java. It is there, JRE and Maven is there. But now we need to add TestNG additionally. So how we can add TestNG to this project is simply right click on the project and go to properties. Just as usual, go to right click properties. And here, go to Java build path, same process. Here, earlier we have added all the Java libraries and everything. So in this library section, you can just click on add a library because TestNG is also a library. So click on add library. In this list, you can find TestNG option. Select the TestNG, simply click on the next and then finish. So along with the JRE, Java, Maven, you can also see third library called TestNG library. So previously our project is associated with the JRE, which is your Java, and then Maven dependencies. Now additionally we have added TestNG library. So once you added, click on apply and close. So now we can see along with the JRE, you can also see TestNG option here. So like this, we can add a new library to this current project. So I'll show you one more time. Just listen. Right click on the project, go to properties, and here you can find Java build path option. And there are multiple tabs here. Go to libraries tab. Previously, it was not there. I'm removing. So currently you are having this kind of thing. Along with the JRE, Maven dependencies, you need to click on add library and select the TestNG, click on the next and finish. Okay, so once you add a TestNG, then apply and close. That's it. So once you have done it, you can see the TestNG option which is available under the project. So this is how we can configure your project with the TestNG. Okay, so this is the one approach. We have to install TestNG and then we added TestNG to this particular project. And another way is we can simply add dependency in pom.xml. So you can just go to pom.xml and we will find the TestNG dependency in Maven repository. Go to MVN repository. In the MVN repository, search for TestNG. So once you search for TestNG, you can find TestNG here. Click on this and 7.10.1 is the latest version. Click on it, copy the dependency, go back to your pom.xml, just add here along with other dependencies, just add another dependency. So this is how we can just add one more dependency in TestNG. Now save it. This is another way. Okay, so installation of TestNG plugin is mandatory. We have to install it, that we cannot skip it. But associating TestNG with your project, how we have associated by just adding the library, that is one approach. And the second one is you can add dependency. Okay, so adding library to the current project or adding dependency to the current project. So either way we can do it, either that one or this one, both are correct. But before doing these two, you have to install TestNG. Through marketplace, we have installed. That is mandatory step. But after that, how we can configure your project with the TestNG? Either by adding TestNG library or by adding TestNG dependency. So you can do either one. And better to have both the things, because sometimes what happens is tomorrow, if you want to run this entire project outside of the Eclipse, so this library may not work. So in that case, the dependency, whatever you have added, this will work. So better to have both. Okay. So this is how we need to configure our project with TestNG. Okay. So first way is sufficient. You can just add library to the current project. That is enough. So you can just right click on the project, go to properties, Java build path, go to libraries, then add library and select TestNG option here. Click on the next and finish. That's it. So TestNG is added. So this is enough for now. Okay. So adding dependency is optional. If you want to add the TestNG dependency, you can add it, or else optional. Okay. So far everything is clear, everyone? Can you do it? Installation and configuration of TestNG. Everyone, please confirm in the chat box. Is it clear how to install TestNG on top of existing project? First, we have to install through marketplace. Then we have associated TestNG library to the current project. So from now onwards, we can create our test cases in TestNG style, and also we can use all TestNG features in our current project. Okay, we can use all TestNG related features in our current project. Right. So now let us discuss something about TestNG. So we have done configuration. And one more important. So far, whatever, okay, let me put these 2 points. Install TestNG in Eclipse using marketplace, adding TestNG library to the build path, and we added dependency in pom.xml. So either go with this one or this one. But before doing these two, we need to install TestNG plugin. Okay. So now, how we can write the test cases in TestNG style? So from now onwards, we are going to write test cases in a different way. So normally, previously, how we have done, we have created the class. Inside this, we have a main method, and we have written all the code, and execution will happen. Because the main method is present inside the class, we're able to execute the class. And also we know if we do not have a main method in the class, we cannot execute the class. As per Java, if you have only main method in the class, then only we can execute the class. If you do not have a main method in the class, we cannot execute the class. That we already know that previously. But in TestNG, also we will create a class, but it doesn't have a main method. In TestNG, also we will create a class, but we do not have a main method. Instead of that, we have to use something called @test annotation. We have something called annotations. I'll discuss all the points. Slowly, you will understand in multiple sessions. In one session itself, is not possible to explain each and everything, but slowly you will understand. So whatever I'm explaining now, so just stick to that. Don't go beyond that. So @test annotation is one of the annotation which is available in TestNG. So we can simply say it is a replacement of main method. So if you create a normal class, we should have a main method. Until unless the main method, we cannot execute. But in TestNG, we do not use main method. So from now onwards, we do not see the main method in the class. So instead of that, we will create a test methods in the class, and every method is created with a test annotation. Okay. So I will show you how we can do this. @test is basically called as annotation. This is the TestNG terminology. Remember this. There are multiple annotations are there, but @test is one of the most important annotation. And another type of annotations I will discuss in the coming sessions. But initially we will start with the test annotation. Okay. Now let us see how we can create a test case in TestNG style. Basic test I'm going to take. So let's go to Eclipse and let's create a new package for today. Just everything is same process. Only thing is we will create a test case in different style. So I'm creating a new package and today is day 42. Now in this, I'm going to create a new test case. Just like a normal class we will create. If I create a normal class, you can just put the class name here. So this is my first test case. Everything is normal. Test case, my first test case. So provide the class name and should not take this main method. Should not select any main method and simply say finish. So once you created, it is just created a simple class, normal class. It doesn't have any main method. Now in this, we have to write a test case. So let us say I have a small test case here. I'm not writing the code and everything. I'm just going to show you how exactly we have to write the test case and how exactly we have to execute it. So for example, I have a small test case like this, only 3 steps. First, I need to log into application, log into my application, or we can first open our application. And second step, I need to log into my application. Third step is I want to log out from application. 3 steps. Okay, now first I will open application. We can consider as a one test. Login is another test. After successful login, I will log out from application. We can consider that is another test. Now have a 3 steps and 3 steps are there. Open application, login and log. Now we need to automate this using TestNG style. So how we can do this? First, we will create a normal class. And in this, for every step, we will create a method. Okay, so normally you have only 3 steps here. But once you converted this into automation, we have to write many steps. For opening application, at least we have to write 2 steps. For login, at least we have to write 3 steps. For logout, we have to write 1 step. So sometimes you may have only 1 step. Sometimes you have to write multiple statements for 1 step, right? So now we need to understand the test case, and accordingly, we have to divide this into multiple methods. So for example, here I'm writing a method void. Okay, let's say open app. This is one method I'm going to create. And this is responsible for what? Opening the application. Now another method I will create void login. And this method is responsible for what? Login to application. And then I'll create one more method called void logout. And this is responsible for logout from application. Like it doesn't mean like each and every step we have to create one method. No, depends upon the complexity of the step. Okay. So open app and logout, I have created separate methods. And login is an actual test method where you want to do validations. So whatever steps we have in the test case, we will divide that into multiple methods. That's the first thing. Now, every method is void. These methods won't return anything. TestNG methods won't return anything. So now these are the methods we created for these 3 steps. So whatever automation code you want to write, you can keep them inside this method. So for now, I'm not writing any WebDriver code. In the next example, I will show you how we can write the WebDriver code. For now, I'm just writing a simple method print statement. Let's say here, this is, let's say, I can simply write opening application. And here I'll implement login steps. And here I'm writing login to application. And in the logout, you need to implement the logout code. But here I'm writing simply logout from application, right? So we need to implement this method by writing WebDriver code. So in the last classes, how we have written system.set property, like a WebDriver driver equal to Chrome driver. So how we have created, how we have interacted with web elements, the process is everything is same here. Instead of writing everything in one shot, we will divide them into multiple methods. And these methods are implemented using WebDriver concept. For now, I'm just putting print statements. Okay, so this is the first step. So as soon as you have done this, still you cannot execute this class. Why? Because we haven't put main method and also we haven't used @test annotation, right? So if you try to run this as, you won't see anything option here. You don't see any run options. Previously, we were getting run as a Java application. Okay, but this time we won't get anything. So what we need to do is in TestNG, every method we define with the some annotation. Here, I will specify @test. So before writing the method, you need to specify something called @test annotation. And then only the TestNG will try to execute this method. Otherwise, it cannot execute directly. Same thing we do for other methods. @test annotation, we have to keep in every method. And when you keep this method, we have to import this test annotation from TestNG. You can just save this and we have to import this. When you put the cursor on this, it will show you different packages. You need to import this from org.testng.annotations. This is the package which we need to import. Okay, now we have imported. So as soon as you imported, you will get some more options here. This run and debug is the links actually. @test is annotation. Below that, it will by default added few links, run and debug. Later we will see. So every test method we defined with @test annotation. Now, if you look at here, run as, you can see one new option called TestNG test. So earlier we haven't get this option. Why? Because we haven't specified the test annotation for the methods. So now we are able to run this test. You can say TestNG test option we have to use. So from now onwards, you don't get as a Java application. We have to run the test as a TestNG test. So now let me run this. So once you run it, so you can see my test is got executed. Now in the console window, we can see some output. Okay, just a okay, so this is the console output. Yeah, you can see this. So you can see different type of outputs. This is the first console output. You can see these are the print messages we got it from the methods. And by default, TestNG will pass every test method by default because we haven't still added any validation points. So by default, TestNG is executed all the methods, successful executed. So it is getting passed. And here you can see how many tests we have run, how many failures, how many skips it will show you. And you can see 3 we have run, 3 passes, no failures, no skips. So this is called console output. And apart from this, if you go back to the second tab here, results of running class first test case. Here you can see these are the test methods we have executed. All of them are got passed by default. So in the two different ways, we can see the output, either in console output. Second one is in hierarchy mode. We can see the output here. This is another view of output. Okay, now let me close this. So this is the way we have to create your test case in TestNG style. So now let me show you a few important points. Listen very carefully because these are the fundamentals. If you understand this, coming sessions will be very, very easy for you. So I have created these three steps. First, to open an application, login and logout. I created these three methods and I added test annotation. If you do not add test annotations, you cannot execute the class. We have to add test annotation. So we haven't put any main method. Okay. Now just observe the output. I'm running one more time. Run as TestNG test. Okay. Now go to console window. And these are the three statements we got from the print statements. And these are the output. So by seeing the output, have you noticed anything? Did you observe something in this output? We have created our test, executed, and we got some output. In the output, did you notice something? Any mismatch or any gap? Did we just observe here? Yes. Order of execution. See in which order I have created this method. First the open app, then I have to log in, then I have to log out. But in which order they have executed? First it is executed login, log out, and then opening application. Is it the right way to execute the test? No. If you really write your WebDriver code in these methods, definitely they will fail, right? But why? Because without opening application, it is trying to log in and log out. Is it possible? No. Your test case definitely will fail if you create a WebDriver code. So how it is executed actually? In which manner it is executed? We have created all these methods in the proper way. First method is open up, second method is login, third method is logout. So the writing the methods are properly in sequence. But TestNG is executed these methods in alphabetical order. TestNG is executed these methods in alphabetical order. Means by using this name of the method, it will check which letter comes first. So if you consider the O and L comes first. Again, in these two, login is executed first and logout executed, and then opening application is executed. That means TestNG will execute the test methods in alphabetical order. By default, it will execute test cases in alphabetical order. That is the first point. TestNG execute the test methods in alphabetical order. I'll discuss more points here. Listen this. That is the first point. TestNG execute the test methods based on alphabetical order. Now, so if the TestNG is executed in alphabetical order, it won't work for me, right? It won't work for us because first we need to open application, then only the login screen will appear. Then I can log in. After successfully login, then I can get the logout button. So we must follow the sequence. If it is executed in alphabetical order, no use for us, right? But how we can control the order of execution? So that we can do by using priority. We should add some option in the test annotation that is called priority option. So let me show you. In the test, we need to add one parameter in the bracket. This is all syntax, okay? You need to follow the same thing. At the rate test, in the bracket, we use one keyword called priority equal to 1. Means I want to execute this method first. And in the test login, I want to execute this second method. So priority 2 I'm giving. And then logout I want to execute after the login. So then I can say priority equal to 3. So by adding the priority option in every test annotation, we can control the execution order. Now execute one more time. Yes. So now you can see the console window. Now you got exactly same order. First opening application, then login, and then logout. Okay, and this order will be different. So this we don't need to consider. This is a test engine just randomly giving the passed or failed messages. We have to consider this one. And also if you look at the tree structure, first open app executed, then login executed, then logout is executed. So 2 points we have to understand. First point, by default, TestNG will execute all the test methods in alphabetical order. And if you want to control the order of execution, we need to add one parameter called priority. At the rate test annotation, priority, we should give some number which will controls the order of execution, which will controls the order of execution. This is the second point. Now, we'll discuss a few more points. Okay. Suppose we provided the priority to the test methods. So once you provided the priority, based on the priority only, the test methods will be executed. Based on the priority, the test methods will be executed. It will not consider the alphabetical order. So third point is, once you provide the priority to the test methods, then order of methods is not considered. That means what? Very important point. So I have provided the priority. Now what I will do is, I will write these methods in the different order. So I will put this logout in the first place. Okay, I will put this open app in the last place. Can we change like this? Yes. So once you provide the priority to the every test method, and these methods we can write in whichever order you want, because the order will not be considered. Okay, so in the initial step, all methods are executed in alphabetical order. Then we have added priority. Then test methods are executed based on the priority. So now what I have done is I have changed the place of method. So I have interchanged the location of these methods. First I put logout, then I put login, then I put open up. So even though you change the order of these methods, still it will consider the priority only. So based on the priority only, the test methods will execute, even though if you change the order of these methods. So that is the third point. So once you provide the priority to the test methods, then order of methods is not considered. That means in whichever order you created, you can do that. So you can randomly create a method. First, I will create a login, then I create an open app, then logout. Still, it is fine. So first I created logout, then login and open app. Still, it is fine. So you can create this method whichever order you want, because the priority will consider at the runtime. Based on the priority only, the methods will execute. So that is the third point. So once you provided priority to the methods, then order of methods is not considered. Order of methods in the sense, the way of the writing the methods. In whichever order you have written the methods, that order will not be considered. That is the third point. Next point. Priorities numbers can be anything. So first let me execute, run as TestNG test. See, even though I have changed the order of the method, still it is executed based on the priority only. That is the third point. Now come to the next point. Priority numbers can be anything. No need to provide consecutive numbers. Let's say I provided 1, 2, 3, right? You can provide 5, 10, 20. You can provide 50, 100, 100, 200. So some random numbers also you can provide. There no need to have a consecutive number. Sequential numbers are not needed. So for example, here I'll say 10. Okay, here I can say 50. Random numbers you can give. And here I can say 200. So whatever number you want, you can give it. But how it will consider execution? Whichever number comes first, or whichever number is the lowest number, that method will execute first. And after 10, which one is higher? 50 is higher. So then login method will execute next. After 50, 200 is a higher one. So the logout method will execute next. Or we can make it as 100. So 100 method will execute first. So again, if you executed this, all methods are successfully executed in whichever order you want. So the order number, the priority numbers, no need to be sequential, no need to be consecutive numbers. Consecutive number means one after another, one after two, two after three, three after four. No need. You can give some random numbers also as a priority. That's the fourth point. So priorities can be random numbers. No need to follow the consecutive numbers. So interview perspective, these are all very, very important points. You will get more questions during interview. So remember each and every point. Priorities can be random numbers. So no need to have a consecutive numbers. You can put any numbers. Suppose if you do not provide any priority. So for example, for open app, I'm removing the priority. I don't put any priority. So then what is the default priority of this method? Can anyone guess? What is the default priority of the test method? Yeah, the priority order you have to decide based on the test case steps. See what in how you have created your test case steps, same thing reflect here. Okay, if you do not specify the priority to the test, what is the default priority it will capture? 0 as a default priority. 0, it will consider as a 0. Okay, suppose I say here I haven't put anything, and a login I will put 1. Let's say login I will put 1. Login I will put 2 priority. And open app I have not given any priority. So by default, if you don't specify any priority to this method, it will consider as a 0. Let's execute and see. Because it's a 0, that should execute first, right? Go to the console. Now you can see open application is executed. So we have not provided any priority to this, but still it is executed first. Why? Because the default priority of this method is what? 0. So the default priority of test method is 0. Or if you do not provide any priority, if you do not provide priority, then the default value is 0. Okay. Suppose if two methods are having same priority, then what will happen? See, this is a 0. Okay, let's give priority is equal to 1. And this is 1. And this is 2. And this is also I will give 2. Login I will give 2. Logout also I will give 2. Then what will happen? If I give same priority to multiple methods, then what will happen? So according to the priority, which one will execute first? Open app will execute first. And then second level, these two methods come into picture because both are having same priority. So in those cases, it will again consider alphabetical order. Okay. If the priority of these two methods are same, then these methods will be executed in alphabetical order. So let me execute again. So the first priority open app is got executed. Then login and logout is got executed. So after login, after that logout will come. So login and logout is executed in alphabetical order. So if the priority is the same, those methods again will be executed in alphabetical order. That is a sixth point. If the priorities are the same, then again execute methods in alphabetical order. Okay, this is another point. Now, suppose I don't put okay, so I don't want to put okay, another option. Suppose, can we provide negative numbers in priority? Can we provide negative numbers in the priority? Can anyone guess? Negative numbers. So we can also provide negative numbers in priorities. We can also provide negative numbers in priority. Okay, for example, here I'm writing some numbers. Now you tell me which one first, which one last. So 0 is a middle number. After that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will start, right? So before that, I can say -1, -2, -3, -4, and -1. So this is a range of numbers, right? So now just observe. For open app application, I'm giving -1 as a priority. For login, I will give you 0 as a priority. For logout, I will give you 1 as a priority. Okay, now tell me which order it will execute. Which one first will execute? Which method will execute first? First method. In 3 methods, -1 I have given, 0 also I have given, 1 is also given. So which method will execute first according to this particular sequence? So if you look at these 3 numbers, 0, 1, and -1, which one is the lowest number? Which one is the lowest number? -1, right? After that, 0 comes. After that, 1 comes. So -1 comes first. So open app will execute. And 0 comes next. So login will execute. Then 1 comes next. So then logout will execute. So execute now, run as TestNG test. So we can also provide negative numbers. You can see open application is executed first, then login and then logout. So not only positive numbers, you can also provide negative numbers to the priorities. This is the another point. Negative values also allowed in priorities. Negative values also allowed in priorities. Now the last point, seventh point. Now, suppose I just remove this test annotation for open app. I completely removed it. Can we execute the test? Can we execute this class? Can we execute it or not? We'll see. Right click, run as. We are still getting TestNG test option. Even though we removed the test annotation for this open app method, still we are getting the TestNG option. You can see right click, run as a TestNG. So let's run it and see what will happen. Yeah, now I executed. See in the console output, only two methods are got executed. Login and logout is executed, but open app is not executed. Why is it so? Because the open app is not associated with any annotation. There is no annotation is associated with open app. That is the reason TestNG is not executed this particular method in the runtime. So what we need to understand based on this, TestNG will execute the test methods only if they are having annotation. Only if they are having test annotation, TestNG will execute those methods. Otherwise, those methods will not be considered by the TestNG. This is the point. So only two methods are having test annotation. So only two methods got executed. Okay. Suppose I don't put test annotation for any of these methods. So I just commented this test annotation. I can make it as a priority equal to -1. So I just commented this also. Now I have not provided test annotation for any of these methods. So now what will happen? Can we run the class? Can we run it? No, because we don't have any method which is having test annotation, right? So in that case, you don't even get the TestNG test option. Let me save it. Just I commented. Okay, so now you can say run as TestNG test, but you won't execute. So it is giving some error. What is an error? So no runs, nothing, because all test is annotations are commented. So no test found. Nothing was run. Means no method is associated with the test annotation. If you have a test annotation to this method, we can call it as a test method. So it is clearly saying no tests were found. So first of all, you won't get this option actually. Run test and you will not get run as option because we already run multiple times. So we got this option now because after commenting. But initially, first time when you don't put any annotations, try to run, you will not get this option. Okay. So if you do not have test annotation, TestNG cannot execute that method. TestNG is always look for the test annotation method. In the Java program, our Java is always looking for, JVM is always looking for what main method should be there in the class. Similarly, TestNG is also always looking for some annotation should be associated with this method. Here we are added test annotation, but other than test annotation, there are other type of annotations are there, like before method, before class, after class. There are multiple types of annotations are there. At least one annotation should be associated with this method, any type of annotation. Then only the TestNG will execute that method. Otherwise, it cannot be executed. Okay, so remember this point. So the last point is what? TestNG will execute the test methods only if they're having @test annotation. This is the point. TestNG will execute the test methods only if they're having test annotation. Otherwise, TestNG cannot execute the test method. So these are the 8 points, very, very important. You need to remember. So everybody's clear. Please confirm in the chat box. All these 8 points are clear so far. So very, very basic stuff. In the next example, Actually, we will write the WebDriver code and see how exactly it will work. So when you're creating a test methods in the TestNG, when you're adding the priorities and when you're adding the test annotation, you need to keep remember these points. Right now. So let me create some other example. So this time we will try to write a WebDriver script. So we understood about test annotation, priorities, and how exactly it will work, all these things, right? So now let's go on to the next one. New class. And here I'm creating one more test. I'll say orange HRM test. And click on the finish. Okay. So in TestNG, we can also create this in different way. I can show you that also. Let me remove this one now. We can create the TestNG class in the different way. What you can do is you can just right click on the package. Okay. And you can say new. Just a second. New. Here you can find something called TestNG option. So not here. Okay. Go down. Yeah, here you can see TestNG option. So I'll show you one more time. It is not visible properly. When you right click on the package, and if you scroll down in this box, you can see TestNG option in the bottom. In the TestNG, you can see one option called create a TestNG class. Create TestNG class. You can click on it. So it will show you another type of window. So in which package it will create, and here we can provide the class name. So here I'm providing orange HRM test. This is my class name. And you can see there are so many types of annotations are there. So we are not going to use these annotations for now. In the next sessions, I will discuss about this. And you can leave this XML suite file, all these things empty. Simply you can create finish. Now it is automatically created a new class, orange HRM test, and by default, it is given one test method. By default, it is given one test method. You can see that. See public void F bracket and opening bracket and close. Here we need to implement the code. So by default, the template it is provided. So we can create a few more methods later. Okay, now I'll try to remove this part for now. So now we will create a test case. Let me take one new test case. In Orange application, Orange HRM application, I'm going to create this particular test. So first we need to open the application. And once you open the application, I want to test the logo presence or not. Then I will log into application. And then finally, I'll close my application. So these are the steps I want to automate. So we need to first identify the multiple tests. Open application. Okay. And then test logo, login, and close. Let's create 4 different methods. First method, void open app. This is one method. And also I will add test annotation along with priority equal to 1. And next one, login. Logo presence or not, I want to verify. Then I will do login. So I can say void test logo. Okay. And in this, I will write implement the code later. So specify test annotation priority equal to 2. So once you are opening your application, then I will verify the logo is displayed or not. And after that, login. So void test login, some method name. And this is also, I'll put test annotation of priority equal to 3. And after that, I want to log out from application, void test logout. So normally for login and logout, we will consider them as a entry and exit criteria. So we'll use a different type of annotations that you can understand later. But for now, everything follow test annotation. So test logout, like I said, test annotation and priority equal to 4. Right now, I have just created the skeleton of all the methods according to my test case. So first open application execute first, then login I will execute logos second, login is third, logout is fourth. Now we will implement the WebDriver code. So let's go to Orange HRM login application. So this is our application which we need to launch first. So this is the application which we are going to launch. Copy this URL. Now we need to write a WebDriver script, right? So in the open application, what we need to do? We need to launch our browser, opening your URL in the browser. So let's create WebDriver, driver equal to new Chrome driver, new Chrome driver. And then once you created this WebDriver, let's import this WebDriver. And after that, I launch my application. So driver dot get specify the URL. That's it. So open app method is got implemented. That is the only scope of open app, right? You're just creating the driver, launching your application. If you want, you can maximize it. Driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. And if you want to put implicit weight, you can put. So driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly weight duration dot half seconds say 10. That's it. So whatever code is required for opening application, we have done everything in the open app. Now come to the logo. So as soon as you launch my page, I want to verify this logo is present or not. This is another test. Now inspect this element and go to selector hub and get this element image. Go back. And now I want to verify it is displayed or not. So driver dot find element. See here, I'm not getting any auto sessions. Driver dot see, I'm not getting anything. First of all, I'm not able to access the driver from this method. Can anyone tell me what is the reason behind that? I'm not able to access the driver here. Here we have already created and used, but when you come to another method, the same driver we have to use it, right? But I'm not able to access it. Why is it so? Why we are not able to access the driver? Yeah, it is not recognizing. Why? Why it is not recognizing? So we already created the driver in the previous method. I'm trying to use same driver here. It is not recognizing. Why it is not recognizing? Because we created this driver as a local object of open app method. It is a local. This is applicable only with this method. So this driver is accessible only within this method because this is the locally we created. Local means within this method we created. Local means within the method we created. So this driver can be accessed only within this method. If you want to access this in outside of the methods, not possible. But how we can access? But we need this driver, right? So we need to make this as a class level. Copy this and keep that variable in the class level like this. And here you remove this point. Okay, now this variable becomes a class variable. So class variable we can access in every method or not? Yes. But driver we have to create inside this method. We cannot create this driver outside of the method. So the variable we have to create outside of the method, but instantiation we have to do inside this method. So now this driver becomes the common variable across all the methods because this is the instance variable or class variable or class object. We can access it in every method. So now you can see, but don't specify WebDriver in both the places. Many of people will do the same mistake. They will create WebDriver driver here, but again, one more time they do WebDriver driver equal to new. So this will give you an error. Okay. So you should not specify here. Remember this point. Only one time you have to create a variable that you can refer multiple times. Now in the logo, we will try to access driver dot. Now you can see you are getting all the methods. Find element by dot xpath. And here we need to pass xpath of the logo element. So this is a xpath. And what is the method we can use? Is visible or not, how we can verify is displayed. And we can collect the status in the status variable, Boolean variable, and that I can print system.out.println logo displayed. I'm writing a simple message. Or if you want to put some if conditions, You can put the if condition also, no problem. Okay, so image displayed, I'll print status code. So later we will make it as complicated, but initially we will try to understand as the big basic stuff. Okay, so now I have implemented open app and logo. Now come to the login. So we already launched our application, right, in the first method. So we only thing is we need to interact with these elements. So inspect this username, get this element. So can we access the driver here in the test login? Yes, we can still access driver dot find element by dot xpath dot send keys of dot send keys of admin and password driver dot find element by dot xpath specify the password of this element. Dot send keys of admin 123. Next step, we have to click on the button. So login button, we have to click. Double quote is missing. Login. So driver dot find element by dot xpath specify dot click. Done. So with these three statements, login is completed. So after that, if you want to put some validation points, so you can put some validation points. Right. So now test logout. So we need to log out from application, or we can close your application. So what is the last step? Close our application. So you can simply make it as a close app because we already created open app. So we are using close app. So here is simply say driver dot close or driver dot quit command. So like this, we have to implement all the methods in different methods, all the statements in different methods, and driver should be commonly available for all the methods. So we have created test methods, provided test annotation, given the priority, everything is perfect. Now let us execute, run as TestNG test. So maximized, entered username password and successfully executed. Now you can see logo is displayed false, it is giving. Okay, so we'll cross check once again. And so all test methods are successfully executed based upon the priority. Okay, but somehow this image is displayed false. Let's put some wait time. Might be it is taking time to load the page. So now you understood, guys, how we can integrate WebDriver code in TestNG methods. So that's the main important thing. Okay, so now you can see logo displayed is true. So this is how we can create a test cases in TestNG style. So this is our TestNG style. Now, so let me show you something else. In the TestNG, we have run the test case directly like this, right? Let's say run as TestNG test. So there is another way to run our test cases. Suppose I have one test case, you can directly go and run like this. Suppose I have a group of test cases. Let's say I have 5, 10 test cases. I want to execute all of them. So implicit wait is not getting that logo actually. So implicit wait is only waiting for the element, but somehow it is not getting that element. So I have just added additionally. Sometimes it is needed, even though if you put implicit wait, okay, so sometimes this will not get for the element. So that is the reason I just put 3 seconds. Very rare cases it is required. Okay, now let me show you something else. So if you have one single test case, you can directly run like this, run as TestNG test. And suppose if I have a group of test cases, let's say I have 5 test cases or 10 test cases. I want to execute all of them in one shot. So how we can do that? So in TestNG, we have an option that we can execute the test cases using XML file. Very, very important. You can execute the test cases. Even single test case also you can execute through XML file. Execute test case using XML file. So what is this XML file, which is also called as a TestNG XML file? TestNG XML file. So throughout the TestNG, XML file will play very, very important role. Very, very important role. Means whatever features we have discussed earlier, grouping, parameterization, parallel testing, report generation, all these things are possible only through XML file. You have to run the test cases using XML file. Then only we will able to achieve all these features. So that much important is this. From the beginning to end of the TestNG will play very, very important. Okay. In today's session, we will see how we can use the TestNG file to execute our test cases. One test case and multiple test cases. And not only that, when you run your test cases in using XML file, we will able to see TestNG report. TestNG report also we can generate through XML file. So in one shot, 2 benefits. One is when you run your test case using XML file, we will able to run multiple test cases at one shot. Second is we can also see the report after execution. We'll see how we can create an XML file, how we can run our test cases using XML file. And again, this XML file we can create in 2 different ways. One is we can automatically generate by using existing options, or we can create our own XML file manually. Okay, I'll show you. It's very, very simple, very easy. Let me show you how to run your test cases using XML file. So let me take the second test case. I want to run this using XML file. So we have to create our own XML file, or we can automatically create an XML file. So how we can do that? So first of all, we need to select the test case. And here in the TestNG, you have an option called Convert to TestNG. Convert to TestNG. When you click on this option, you can see it automatically that XML code is generated. And where it is generated in the suite, test name, suite name, if you want, you can change it. Suite name and test name, you can change it. And where it is generating location is in the WebDriver project, directly in the project level, the XML is storing, but I don't want to store in the project level. I want to save this XML file inside the project day 42. Simply, you can just browse it and select the project, go to SRC, go to the test, Java, and select the package, day 42. Say OK. And after that, simply say finish. No need to go next, just finish. Now you can see that XML file is got generated automatically. This is called testng.xml file. This is called testng.xml file. Okay. Now it is having some errors. You need to get this URL first. So when you put this cursor on this URL, it is saying force download. So downloading external resources is disabled. So we need to just click on this link. It will solve the problem. So once you click on the link, then problem is got solved. Now we got the XML file. So in this XML file, you can see which class this XML is running. I will explain other options also, but the main XML is from here. This is the part we need to understand. And first 2 statements, these are all common. It will say like XML version, document type, and everything. These 2 steps are mandatory for every XML. And these are the tags which we need to understand. Okay. So before understanding this XML, let me run this XML file first. How to run this XML file? Can run as, you can see, TestNG suite. So previously, what is an option we got? TestNG test. Because we are running only one single test. But through XML, we can run single test or multiple test or group of test. So normally the group of test is called test suite, right? So that's the reason we are getting test suite option. So when I click on the test suite,
our TestNG XML file is executed our test case. See, our TestNG.xml file is executing our test case. See, in the console output, we got some output here. And if you go back to the results of running suit, all 4 methods are successfully executed. So our XML file is executed our test case. Now, where we can see the TestNG report. Here we see console output. Here we can see hierarchy mode. But where is the report? So you need to just refresh the project once and go to test-output. So this is a new folder you will get. Once you run test using XML file, you will get this folder newly. And sometimes you may not see this folder. You need to refresh your file, refresh your project once. So once you refresh, then you can see this test-output. Right? If you expand this test-output, you can see so many files. In this, again, 2 files are important. One is emailable report. Second one is index.html. Okay. First of all, let me open emailable report. So right click on this HTML, open with system editor. Now this is a TestNG report. See, this is a test. 4 got executed, 4 are passed, no scripts, no return, no fail, nothing. How much time it is taken, it will show you. A green color is representing passed. So everything is got passed. Suppose if anything is got failed, it will come in the red color, and along with the failure messages, exceptions, everything will display in this report. This is very, very basic report of TestNG report. And this is emailable report. There is another report will be generated. We go back to Eclipse, index.html. You open this one, open with system editor. This is index.html. If you look at this report, this is the XML file we have executed. And 4 methods are executed, 4 are passed. If you click on this show, it will show you what are all methods are executed and passed. If it is a failure, that also it will report here in the red color marks. And if you click on this chronological view, this will show you in which order the test methods are got executed and how many milliseconds it takes each method execution. It will also show you. So some more options are showing here. So these two are the TestNG reports. One is emailable report. The other one is index.html. So these reports will be created only when you run your test cases through XML file. Okay. Now let us try to understand few things about this XML file. Very, very simple, very, very easy. So how to create this XML file? I will show you simple way of creating your own XML. We can also create our own XML file, but you need to know the tags, which is most important. So that XML file will start with the suit tag. This is a higher, the root parent tag. And the suit tag is having some attribute called name. And this name you can change if you want. You can change like my suit or whatever you want, you can put. In the suit, test suit contains a number of tests. So this is the test tag. And every test tag is also having name attribute, and thread count is optional. So this we can use when you do parallel testing. So for now, I can remove this. Right? Suit tag is having a name attribute. Test is also having name attribute. Inside the test, we have another tag called classes, closing and ending tag. Inside the classes, we have actual class tag. Here we have to specify name attribute, that is package name dot your class. And this class tag is already closed here. This classes tag is closed here. Test tag is closed here. Suit tag is closed here. So this is the same template we have to use to write an XML file. So we can create our own XML file if you know these templates. Very, very easy. So now when I execute it, this will execute our test case. And this is a simple way of creating your own XML file. I will show you how to create our own XML file. This is auto-generated XML file. Let me close it. We will create our own XML file. So again, go back to the same package. This time, I will create my own XML file. I already shown you how to create automated XML file. How we can create automated XML file. Right click on the test. Here, go to TestNG and convert to TestNG. So just location, you can browse. and click on finish, XML file will be generated. Now, if you want to create our own XML file, then how we can create? And also in XML file, I can run multiple test cases. Here only one test I mentioned. I can add more tests. So how we can do that? Let me show you. So to create your own XML file, very simple. Where you want to create package day 42. So I'm just right click on it. Here, go to the new, select the file, and here give the file name. So here I'm giving myfile.xml. So myfile.xml. This is my own XML file I'm going to create. Click on finish. Now it is empty. Nothing is there in this. So first 2 lines, you need to copy these somewhere and paste it over here. First 2 lines you can have somewhere, you can paste it here. Now from this, we need to create our own tags. So what is the first tag? Suit. It will automatically come here, suit. And the name attribute we have to specify. Here you can put any name. I can call it as a my suit. Opening end tag and closing tag. Opening tag and a closing tag. I say press enter. It will go to the next line. Now inside the suit, what is the next tag is? Test tag. So test is having name attribute. So name equal to, I say my test and close this. Opening end tag, closing tag. So inside the test tag, we have a classes tag. Inside the test tag, we have a classes tag. Inside the classes tag doesn't have any attributes. But inside this, we have a class. This is having attribute. Class name equal to, we have to specify from which package we want to execute the test day 42. So here you can say day 42. Package name must be specified. Dot. And what is the name of the test? Orange HRM test. Orange HRM test. And close this tag. That's it. So this is how we can create our own XML. Suppose I want to add a few more tests. Let's say first test case, that also I want to add. So you can just copy this entry, take one more entry and just add that also. So group of test cases also we can execute. So here I'll say first test case. That's it. So now this XML will able to run 2 test cases as a group. Let me execute now. Run as, see, as soon as you save it, if you don't save this, you will not get the run option. Okay, you need to carefully save it. I'll tell you if you are able to create automatically, why we have to create manually. So very good question. I will clarify that. So let me execute this first. So I'm able to run test. So this is my first test is running, and then after that it will go to the next test case. Now if I look at the output, so 2 classes have run, right? Then go to the console window. Totally 4 it is giving. So you see the results of running. So still it is executing only 4. Something is wrong. First test case is correct only. Sorry. Yeah, both are there in the day 42. Okay, let me run one more time. So TestNG.xml should able to execute both the classes. Okay, let's run one more time. Yes, we are running multiple test cases in one shot. Still not executed. Let me do some change. It should pick both the test cases. In the first test case, sorry. So we commented all the test annotations, right? So that's the reason it is not executed anything. So let me remove this. Okay, now go back and execute the XML file one more time. So make sure when you're writing your XML file, save this. So then you will get this option, run as TestNG suite. So in XML file, in whichever order we mentioned all the tests, it will follow the same order. So now you can see all 7s are executed. If we go back to this, here you will know that. First orange HRM test is got executed. all 4 methods are got executed. Then first test case, 3 methods are executed. So we will see the report. So refresh test-output folder. Once you refresh, you need to refresh every time, otherwise it will not be updated. So go to index.html, open with system editor. Now we can see from first test case, these 3 methods got executed. From orange HRM test, 4 methods got executed. And this is the XML file which we have executed. And chronological view, if I click, see, this is the order. First, these 4 are executed, then first test case got executed. So this is one type of report. And this is emailable report. See, this is the first test case. This is the orange HRM test. So everything is got executed successfully. So this is how we can simply execute group of tests using one single XML file. So the XML file we can automatically generate, or we can create our own XML file. Okay. Sometimes, suppose I'm able to create XML file, all the tags and everything it is able to identify. Okay, why? Because I already install XML plugin. So if you want to install XML plugin, then it is able to go to marketplace, and in the search box, you can just search for XML. Just type XML editor. Because if you install this, everything will XML files can easily recognize. Okay, so you can install any XML editors. See first of all whether you are able to identify the XML or not. Then you try this XML. Okay, I think, yeah, this is the one. Eclipse XML editors and tools. Eclipse XML editors and tools. You can just try to install it, and you will able to recognize XML. But before installing, just try. If you are not able to recognize all the tags and everything, so then you can install. Otherwise, no need. Okay. So what is an XML file is basically is XML file is also called as a suite, test suite. What is a test suite? Normally, if you look at normal test cases, we have what test suite is a what first main thing. What is the test suite contains? What is the test suite contains? The manual testing. What is the test suite means? Group of test cases is called test suite. So test suite contains what? Multiple test cases. Multiple test cases. And what is the test case means? What is the test case contains? Test case contains a test steps, right? The group of steps is called one test case. Same hierarchy we follow in TestNG. So test suite is nothing but what? XML file. XML file is considered as a test suite. So what is a test case? Means classes. So whatever classes we created here, each class is considered as one test case. Now, what is a test case contains? Test case contains the test steps. So these are test steps we will implement in test methods. Test methods. So this is a correlation. Test methods. Okay. Now you can map it. So normally we have a test suite which contains a group of test cases. Each test case again contains a test steps. Now if you come to the TestNG, test suite is nothing but an XML file so that we can run all the classes, all the test cases through XML file. And class contains a test method. So in the test methods, we will implement all the test methods. So this is a hierarchy. So XML is also called as a XML suite. We can run one single test case or we can run group of test cases using XML file. Okay. Now, two advantages we have seen using XML file. One is we can execute a group of test cases. And second is once we executed through XML file, we are able to see the reports under a test-output. So in the TestNG, we no need to write a separate code for reporting. So it is automatically generated. It's a built-in mechanism which we have in TestNG. The only thing is we have to make sure the test cases are executed only through TestNG. That's it. Okay. Now, if you are able to create XML file automatically, why we should generate it? Why we should also, if you automatically we are able to generate, why we need to create manually? Means, suppose when you create your XML file template by default, you will get only the basic tags. Let's say only suit, test classes, and test is closed, suit is closed. Only the basic tags you will get. But later on, we need to add so many other tags like grouping, listener, parameters. There are n number of tags are there. So we need to add them. So whatever features we understood before, as I told you, in the TestNG, we can do so many features we can achieve, right? Grouping, parameterization, parallel testing. So to achieve these features, we need to add some more additional tags in XML file. Okay, some more additional tags we need to add. And that is possible only through manually. But when you create an XML file, only the default structure will be created. The basic suit, test, classes will be there. But apart from this, if you want to add some additional tags, that is possible only through manual process. But initial XML file, we can create automatically. And then we can add some additional tags, grouping, parallel, parameterization. So the different tags are there. So in the coming sessions, I will introduce you other tags, but this is the basic XML file will be generated. Right. So if you want to additionally add some more tags, we can add manually. We cannot generate them automatically. So that is the reason the second approach will be useful. So we can create XML file manually. The basic structure you can automatically generate, but on top of this, if you want to add any additional tag, so we should add them manually. So we have to know the tag names, which is very, very important. And very easy to remember also. Suit opening and closing tag, suit contains a test contains a classes, classes contains a class. Very easy to remember. Same structure we follow for every type of XML file. All XML files in TestNG. Only thing is we will just add some additional tags. That's it. Otherwise, everything is same. Okay. So we can create our own XML file. We can also automatically generate our own XML file. Okay. So through XML file, what we have done, two things we have achieved. Two things we have achieved through XML file. So what is the first thing? Executed group of test. Actually, the grouping concept is different. So sanity group, regression group, we have to make all the test cases the different groups. Then we can execute those groups separately. That's a different concept. So we should not call it as a grouping. Actually, we can call it as executing the test cases as a test suite, one suite. Executed group of test cases as a one suite. And the second is we generated the report. We can generate TestNG reports. And these reports are default. So we no need to write any additional code for generating the reports. When you run test cases using XML file, reports will be automatically created inside the test-4 output. And we need to refresh the project after execution. Then only you will see these files. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay. So this is a basic understanding of what is TestNG, what are the advantages, how to configure, how to create a basic test case in TestNG, and how can we execute. How can we execute of different testing, smoke, sanity? That is a part of the grouping. I already told you that grouping concept we will discuss in the coming sessions. So this is not the grouping. We just executed the multiple test cases in a suite, but this is not actual grouping. Okay. We will do grouping part separately. Once you separate all the tests, if you have multiple test cases, then we can achieve the grouping concept. So in the coming sessions, we will discuss that concept. Just stick to the concept, whatever we discussed today. Don't go beyond that. If you have any queries related to this one, you can ask me now. So how can we create automatic XML file for multiple test cases? Yes, very good question. Let me show you. So this is my old XML file. Let me remove this. So now I want to create an XML file automatically which contains multiple test cases. So in that case, what you have to do is you have to select the package. So in which package these two test cases are present? In the day 42 package. Now you need to select this package, go to TestNG and convert to TestNG. Now you can see both the classes here and you can create. Click on finish. Okay, it is created in the project level. I'm just copying into the day 42. Remove from here. Okay, now you can see TestNG.xml, which contains the two classes. So like this, you can create automatically by adding multiple cases. This is the process. So in the real-time project, will there be a single TestNG XML file which will contain all the source? No, we will maintain multiple XML file. For grouping, we will have one XML file. For parallel testing, we will maintain another XML file. And all the test cases contains one single test and master XML file we will maintain. Up to 2 to 3 XML files we will maintain in our projects. And depends upon the requirement, you will choose the right XML file to run. Suppose if you want to execute your test cases parallelly, then you will choose XML for parallel execution. And if you want to execute the groups, then you will choose a grouping XML file. Suppose if you want to execute all the test cases based on the groups in all the browsers parallelly, then you can maintain one master suite XML file that you can execute. So depends upon our requirement and different scenarios, we will create multiple XML files. So clear everyone. So please confirm in the chat box all the topics, whatever we discussed today. So just try this for today's session. Just try to configure TestNG. And once you configure, try to explore these points, 8 points related to priority, and try to create XML file automatically and manually. Try to understand the tags which we created. Okay, and then see how the report is going to generate. So get familiar with this basic stuff. And tomorrow I will introduce, next class, I will introduce some more annotations. Today we will mainly discuss only @test annotation. There are some more annotations are there. So we will discuss that in the next session. So if you miss something here, if you're not understood something, just try to watch the recorded session one more time so that it will be more clear for you. Okay. So that's all for today's session, and I'll stop here and we'll see in the next session.